Alright, so let's go ahead and for now, we can put your pencils down because for the most part, we should have hopefully at least the first section-ish done. So raise your hand if you got through the first and second page, I think we like these two. And that's fine. Alright. So starting over here, it says I can determine if a value makes an equation or an inequality true. So how do we go about solving number one? What do we need to do? What do we need to do? Mikhail. Can't hear anything you're saying. So we have to do substitution. So we're gonna do 6 times, what, 18? And what does that give us? What's 6 times 18? Lily?
108.
108, so we know that this is a true answer, or true value for x. Alright, the next one says x minus 19 is less than or equal to 81 if x equals 110. So what do we have to do here for this problem? Camden.
Swap x out for 110.
Okay, so I'm gonna do 110 minus 19, and we're saying it's less than or equal to 81. Well, what is 110 minus 19? What does that give us? Delilah. 98? 91? So we're saying 91 is less than or equal to 81. Is that true? Is it true? No. So this is, we're just gonna write not true right there. See how much I like this? That's what I thought. Alright, so x plus 6 is greater than 24 if x equals 18. So what do we do here? What do we have to do here? It's the same process for everything, guys, so I should see more hands. Troy? Okay. Because we know that 24 is not greater than 24, right?
Yeah.
So this is not true or false, whichever one you wanted to write. Alright, how do we do with those first three? Okay. Alright, looking at 4 through 9, we are solving these. So just kind of like we did for 1, 2, and 3, we're plugging in the value for x. Sorry, we're finding the value for x. So number 4, says 2 and 1/10 x equals 23 and 1/10. So what operation is going on with 2 and 1/10 x? What operation is going on in our problem? Christiana? Multiplication. So then what's the opposite of multiplication? So I have to divide by 2 and 1/10, which means I have to divide by 2 and 1/10. So I'm going to do 23 and 1/10 divided by 2 and 1/10. What do we remember about dividing decimals? What do we have to do if we have decimal on the outside? Kaya? Okay. Alright, so what can I multiply 21 by to get 2? Anything? No. What can I multiply 21 by to get 23? 1. And what can I multiply 21 by to get 21? Levi? 1. So we are saying that x equals 11. How do we check to make sure that is true? What do we have to do? That's 2. Put on placeholder. That's 1, 2. Technically, we end up with 2, 3, 1. We add our decimal back in, and we get 23 and 1/10. Alright, thumbs up if you got that one right. How many of you guys remember doing this a way long time ago? Feels like forever, doesn't it? Alright, so looking at the next one, x plus 54 equals 76. What do I have to do here? What do I have to do here, y'all? Alright, so at this point, me and Kyle, put your hand down, I don't want to talk to you anymore today. As much as I enjoy talking to you, I need other people to participate. Cause y'all, the majority of you raised your hand and said you got this one and this one done. This is probably one of the easiest problems on the entire page. So I should see a whole lot more hands. Emma?
You would divide.
No. We're on number 5.
Oh, you would subtract 50.
Why?
Just cancel it out.
Because we're doing that opposite?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna subtract 54 from this side. What do I do next?
You subtract 54 from 76.
And I get x equals what?
22.
Alright, and how do I check to make sure that's right?
You would add 22 to 54.
Alright, so I know that I'm correct, x equals 22. Alright, looking at the next one, number 6, it says 4 1/2 equals 1 2/10 plus x. Alright, so this one is a teeny tiny bit different because we have to figure out, is the 1 2/10 positive or is it negative? Is this 1 2/10 positive or negative? How do we know? Aiden?
It's positive
How?
because there's a plus next to it. If there's not anything in front of it, it's automatically positive.
Right, so since there's nothing in front of our 1 2/10, we know it's positive, so then what do we have to do, Aiden?
We have to subtract.
Alright, so you should have ended up with 3 3/10. Thumbs up if you got that. How do I check to make sure this is right? What do I have to do?
You have to add a one and then 1 and 2.
Alright, so that does check out. Alright, number 7, x minus 10 6/10 equals 16 and 9/10. What do I have to do here? Wyatt?
You got 16.9
And why are we adding?
because it's the opposite of the
Perfect. Alright, so when you add 16 and 9/10 plus 10 and 6/10, what do you get? You said 27. Yep, and then how do I check to make sure I did this right?
You subtract.
Yeah, you're right. Not 16. Right, so you do the 27.5 minus 10 and 6/10, and you end up with 16 and 9/10. Alright, the next one. So this says x. What is that? What is that bar? Is that a fraction bar? It's a fraction bar, right, Ryan?
No, it's a division bar.
How do you know?
Because there's a variable on top.
Oh, because there's a variable on top. It's not a fraction. You know, it looks like a fraction.
It looks like a fraction, but it's division.
Are you sure? Very nice. Okay. Alright, so, William, since it is division here, what do we have to do?
You divide it by 12.
No.
Oh, multiply it by 12.
Yeah.
Cancels it out.
Perfect.
And then multiply 7.5 by 12. Or, yeah.
And you get what?
I divided on it and I got I'm not confused, but I kind of did it wrong.
Okay.
And I see my mistake.
Okay, so make sure you fix it on your paper. Alright, when you do 12 times 7.5, you end up with 90. How do we expect to make sure this is right? Troy? Alright, so it checks out. Alright, number 9. It says 44 equals 9x. So what operation is going on with 9x? Delilah? So what's the opposite? I'm gonna divide and then divide. So 144 divided by 9 gives me what? 16. Alright, how do I check to make sure this is right? Alright, so how did we do with 4 through 9? Thumbs up if you got them all right. Middle thumb if you got 50% of them right. Down thumb if you got less than 50% right. Alright, so if you did not get them all right, please make sure that you do copy down the right information so you do have it on your study guide. Alright, moving into number 10 and 11, we are writing real world equations. So it says, Xander collected 4 times as many stamps as his cousin. If Xander collected 60 stamps, how many did his cousin collect? Alright, so what is important in the question? So let's go through and highlight, annotate, whatever you want to call it, within our question. Levi. So 4 times as many stamps as his cousin. Okay, what else? So collected 60. And then what else? Alright, so the variable, what are we looking for? What are we looking for in this problem? Haley? Number of cards or stamps? Okay, and then what is our equation gonna look like? So what's the equation gonna look like? Now remember guys, we had a little bit of trouble with this because we wanted to put in our equation, how we solve it, not what the equation would look like. So essentially, let's talk about first, how are you gonna solve this problem if I said you have to solve it? What operation would you be doing? Christiana? So what's the opposite of division? So what is your equation gonna look like?
4 times x equals 60.
Yes. So 4x equals 60. Because in order to figure this problem out, you do division. So try to think of it like that when you're coming, or when you're completing equation problems. How'd you guys do with that one? Right, problem? Kinda, sorta?
No.
No?
First part.
Miserably or just a little bit? Why?
But it's only on that question.
Only in that one? So what did you do wrong?
Everything.
Everything? Like, you didn't get the variable right, you didn't get the equation?
I got the variable right.
Okay, well you didn't fail on everything then. You just 50% failed. What was your equation?
Or division.
So then, again, you didn't necessarily fail. You just put in how you solve it with inverse operations. So again, you have to think to yourself, guys, if I'm dividing to solve this problem, then when I'm writing my equation, I have to do the opposite of it. Does that make sense? Okay, all right, let's look at number 11. It says Lucy has a coin collection of quarters from different states. The value of her coin collection is $9.50. How many quarters does she have in her collection? All right, so what is important? What are we gonna highlight?
Value.
Not just value.
Value of her collection, $9.50.
Okay. All right, what else is important?
how many quarters she has in her collection.
Okay. Anything else? No? Alright, so what is our value? What is our variable? What are we looking for? No.
The number of points she has.
Alright, and then what is our operation?
Oh, to solve it or the equation?
The equation. Huh?
Multiplication.
It is multiplication, so what did you put in there to multiply?
0.5x equals 9.2.
Alright, so how many of you guys did 950 divided by 0.25? Alright, so that is the correct way. Please make sure you get it written down. Alright, how many of you guys got to number 12? Alright, so at this point, if you did not get to number 12, please make sure that you're annotating, highlighting, completing with us. Alright, so 12 through 17 says I can solve real world equations. So number 12, we're going to annotate, then we're going to solve it. It says, Mike and his brother found some cash at a bus stop. They split the money evenly, each getting $16. How much did they find? Alright, so what is important in this question? Levi? Nope. So they split the money evenly. What else? Okay. Alright, so what does our equation look like? Nope. Your equation should look like this. Okay? So then if we are solving this, because we're not just writing the equation, we're actually solving this now, what do I do to solve this problem? What do I do to solve the problem? Jenna?
And cancel it out and times it by 16.
Okay, so x equals, what's 16 times 2? So they had $32, and how do I check to make sure this is right? What do I need to do? What do we need to do, Gemma?
32 minus 16 is
32 divided by 2 equals 16. You're just plugging it back in. Just remember, y'all. Alright, number 13. A large bowl of cereal costs $3.50. How many boxes can... Sorry, a large box, not bowl. How many boxes can you purchase with $28? Alright, what's important in this one? Delilah?
Large box costs $3.50.
Okay.
And then how many boxes can $28?
Alright, so what is our equation gonna look like?
I'm gonna say like $3.50 x equals $28.
Alright, and then we solve this how?
The opposite side of the equation.
And then what did you get?
Not
And then how do we check to make sure we're right? So you do $3.50 times 8, and that gives you $28. How do we do so far in 12 and 13? If you got to.
I got the right answers, I just
So that you did get the right answers. So you didn't get the right answers.
Someone got the right answers.
Oh, okay. Alright, number 14, Jada swam 200 meters more than Molly. Jada swam a total of 800 meters. How many meters did Molly swim? Alright, so what's important in this question? Jonathan, thank you for volunteering.
200 meters more.
So Jada swam 200 meters more. Alright, what else?
Total of 800.
Okay, what else?
How many meters did Molly swim?
Alright, so what does our equation look like?
It's like our equation is 800 minus 200.
No,
X
that's
plus-
how you solve it.
X plus 300.
And then what do we do here?
We gotta subtract 200 from
Do what?
that. Subtract
200 from 800? Or we're saying x equals 600, and how do we check to make sure?
600 plus 200.
Alright. Number 15. A recipe calls for 2.5 cups of sugar. You have already put in 7,500 cups. How many more cups of sugar does the recipe call for? So what is important in this question? Even if you didn't do it, you can still help me annotate. Excuse me. Troy.
Recipe calls for 2.5 cups of sugar.
Okay?
I've already put in 0.75 cups in.
Okay?
How many more cups of sugar does the recipe call for?
Alright. What does our equation look like? Divided by? Not divided. Key word right here is more, right? So essentially, if it's saying more, like how many more do we need? Are we adding or subtracting? Okay? Do we know what we're adding?
We're doing, what I did was, I just added 0.75 plus 0.75 and then plus 0.
Right, but for our equation, do we know what we're adding? Do we know the other, like the other amount that we need for the equation? Okay, I'm not trying to frustrate you, I'm just, so if you don't know, then we don't know, right? Is that our unknown, Troy? Okay, so that's where our variable goes, and then we know that it's gonna be 2.5 is what it equals. Alright, what do we do to solve this problem then? No. So we're gonna subtract 7,500s from this side and that side. And what do you get when you subtract 7,500s? Okay, and then how do I check to make sure that's right? Huh? And you end up with 2.5. Alright. How many of you guys got to 16? Okay. So, Jefferson High School has an enrollment of 1,864 students. And 564 students will graduate. How many students will be enrolled after graduation? What's the point of this question? Hi.
1,864 students. 564 students.
Hold on, wait. Not just students, though, we need to know enrolled, because that tells us what?
That's the total.
Okay, and then 564 students, okay, and that tells us what? Essentially, we will be. So that's how we solve our problem, right? And then what's the last part that's important?
How many students will be enrolled after graduation?
Alright, what does our equation look like?
564 plus X equals 1,860.
And then what do we do?
And we're going to subtract 564.
And we get, you said 1,300? And then what do we do to solve? Or to, I'm sorry, check.
You add 1,300 to 764.
Alright. Last one of these. Mrs. Turner baked 120 cookies. She decided to give 1/6 of them to her students. How many did she take? How many did she take to her students? Alright, what's important in this question? Billy.
She baked 120 cookies.
Alright, what else?
She decided to give 1/6 of them to her students. And how many did she take to her students?
Alright. So, what's our equation look like for this one?
120 times 1/6.
For all of you who wanted to put the X as your answer, this one you are allowed to. You could have also done what else? What you looking at me sideways for? Is there another way you could have written this though? What's the other way? Delilah, what'd you write?
I kind of wrote
100 what?
I kind of wrote 1/6 times 120. Well, no, X equals 120.
That's the same thing. No, that's the same thing.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing, you just wrote it backwards. Yeah, you're good. What is another way we could have wrote this though? Jonathan? That's how we solve it. What's another way we could have wrote it?
1/6 times X equals 120.
Zoe? Delilah?
120 over 6 equals X.
Anyone else? And why can we write 6x equals 120? What are we about to do? We're essentially about to put 120 over 1 times 1 over 6, and we end up doing what with 120 and 6? Let me write it down. So this is essentially how we're about to solve this problem, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this becomes 120 over 6, which what do we end up doing? Dividing by 6. Alright, so that is why you can also write 6x equals 120, because what do you do there?
You're just going to divide it.
You're just dividing by 6. Alright. What was your answer? What did x equal?
X equals 20 cookies.
And then how do we check? Well, I
20
guess-
times 6.
Guess I just needed to show my work, sorry. Alright. Questions about that one? I know that one was a little bit different. Alright, let's go down to I can identify independent dependent variables. So we did just recently talk about this. So this one might have been a little bit difficult, but hopefully we still remembered some key things, or we had our notebooks out and we're looking at our notes. So real quick, this is my x coordinate, right? This is my y coordinate, right? Did anybody label it x and y? You did? So if you labeled this x, what do we know about that?
That's the independent variable.
So this equals my independent variable, so then this one equals my dependent variable. Alright, so the blank depends on the blank, which is the independent variable. So knowing that x equals independent, y equals dependent, how do we fill this in? What do we write? Aiden.
The change in value depends on the number of things which is the independent variable.
Perfect. Alright, how do we do with that one, if we got there? Use the tricks that hopefully you remember from, or study your notes. Alright, number 10. Why goes to number 10, I don't know, but we'll just roll with it. It says complete the statements below. So what do we know about this first column, the amount of money before purchase? What do we know that this first column represents? Only 3 people know. Alright, Delilah, what do you think?
It's the independent.
Why?
Because if it was on a grid, the money before would go up like under, and like the money after goes sideways.
Well, the money after is also representing what? Starts with a T.
Total.
Total, it's representing your total. And 9 times out of 10, what do we know our total is? Huh?
Say that one more time.
So 9 times out of 10, when we think about the total, when we're dealing with independent, dependent variable, total usually is what? The independent or the dependent? The dependent. Alright, so then how do we fill in our blank?
Are you supposed to? The morning, not the morning, the money after depends on the money before, which is the independent.
Alright, good job. So please make sure you get that written down if you do not have it written down already. Please make sure you write down the few little key things that we added so that when you look over this, you have a good idea of your independent and your dependent variables. Thumbs up when you're ready to move on. Alright, flip the page over. How many of you guys got to the back side? That's okay. You might have a few problems for homework tonight, but hopefully you won't have too many. Alright, so I can determine if k equals 8 as part of the solution set. Remember, solution set goes, what does that mean? What does your solution set mean? Jonathan?
Any number that would make the inequality true.
Right. So any number that makes the inequality true. Please make sure you write that down. Add a little bit of highlighter to it so that it stands out to you. Alright, so solving inequalities is just like solving what? Oh my lord. Someone other than Aiden and Delilah. How do we solve inequalities? We use what? Starts with an I, ends with an N. It's 2 words. Zoe? Yes, ma'am. Alright, so this says 5K is less than 39. What operation is going on between 5K? Even if you haven't got this far, still try to participate as much as possible. Emma.
Multiplication.
So the opposite is,
Division.
so I'm gonna divide by 5, so I should do 39 divided by 5, gives me what? Can you already tell me that this is gonna be false?
Yeah.
Why? Noah, why can you already tell me this is gonna be false? Yes, you do. Don't play with me. Okay, but Noah, what is 5 times 8?
5 times 8 is 40.
So is 40 less than 39?
I mean, no.
No. So even though, like, yes, I want you to show your work, in this one, it's pretty easy to show work, right? Because we already know the value of k. So do I have to go through all of this?
No.
No, absolutely not. Don't make more work for yourself than you have to. Now, if you went ahead and solved anyways, no, what is the answer for 39 divided by 5?
I mean,
6 point.
8. No. I mean,
Are you sure?
7.
Good Lord, child. Let me do my math real quick.
I did it in my head.
Oh, that's why we don't do things in our head, child. 39, 5. 7. Bless you. There you go. You were close. I'll take it. But again, we already know what k is, so we can just throw this in and do 5 times 8 equals 40, which we know is not true. It is not a solution or part of the solution set, correct? Because 40 is not less than 39. Wake up. We're almost done. With class. Alright, so the next one, it says k divided by 2 is less than or equal to 4. So again, rather than doing inverse operations, can we just plug in k and solve?
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to plug in k and I'm going to do 8 divided by 2 equals what? What's 8 divided by 2? 8 divided by 2. Kyra? 4. Kyra, is 4 less than or equal to 4? 4 isn't equal to 4? Okay, so this is yes, and this was a no, sorry. I guess we need to put that part. Alright, and then the last one that says k minus 6 is greater than 2. So we're going to do 8 minus 6. What does that equal? What's 8 minus 6? Gemma? 2. And is 2 less, or sorry, is 2 greater than 2? No, it's what? Equal. So this is a no. Alright, graphing inequalities. Open and close circles. How many of you guys remember? Oh Lord. Open circle goes with what? 2 symbols. What does open circle go with? Leo. Which 2 symbols? So greater than, less than. Alright? Closed circle goes with what, Leo? Alright, so for the first one we have x is greater than or equal to 6. So what number do we put on our number line? Levi. Did you say 6? Yes. And open circle, closed circle. Closed circle. And then Levi, which direction is it going? To the right, because we're saying x is greater than or equal to 6. So any number greater than or equal to 6 is correct. Alright, 15 and a half is greater than x. So what number are we putting on our number line? So we are 15.5, open or closed circle. And which direction? To the right. Again, because we are saying any number greater than 15 and a half will make this statement true. Why are we not including 15 and a half in this one? Is 15 and a half greater than 15 and a half? No, it's not. That does not make the statement true. The statement is saying 15 and a half is greater than x. Alright, 23 says x is less than or equal to -3. So what number goes on our number line? Haley. -3. Open or close circle? You said closed? Okay, and then which direction? To the left, why? X is less than or equal to 3, yes.
Isn't number 22 supposed to go to the left since 15
Oh,
and a half
you
is
are
supposed to
correct.
be greater than?
Yes, you're right. That's why I keep going around. It's going to the left.
Yay.
Alright, listen please. If you did not finish the rest of this page, you have homework, so you have 24 to 40. If you finished it, you don't have any homework. If you finished almost all of it, you have very little homework. Alright, we will finish this and move into our next study guide tomorrow. Good job today.